Holy shit. The Department of Homeland Security shouldn't be no department at all. We need to replace the Department of Homeland Security with some real people that want security in the homeland. What do we pay the Homeland Security for? Just like I said before, what do we pay the FBI for? Just like I said before, what do we pay the CIA for? Just like I said before, what do we pay the conscious community for? Just like I said before, what do we pay the CDC for? Just like I said before, what do we pay the FDA for? Just like I said before, what do we pay the ATF for? ATF for. Just like I said before. Why are we paying any of these agencies if these agencies are allowed to lie to us? And lying be a part of their job title. They can lie and get away with lying because their job says that they can lie to us, the ones that pay their salaries. Literally, how does that work?
International events that domestic and foreign violent extremists will use to justify attacks on the homeland. Lone offenders, small groups posing a threat. Meanwhile, foreign terrorists and their supporters will maintain their enduring intent on the homeland. Plus, trafficking, sale of drugs, transnational domestic criminal actors, fentanyl. I mean, this is just, it's a laundry list of what we've been covering on this show. The Department of Homeland Security says, yes, redacted, you're right. All that stuff is happening. But who does it say is our, even though that's happening specifically through our southern borders, human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, terrorists entering. But who do they say are the big three we need to be worried about? Any guesses? Who are the big three actors?
China, Iran, and Russia.
You got it.
That's a shock.
Yes, this should have been a Family Feud question. Take a look at what they say. The People's Republic of China, Russia, and Iran will remain the most pressing foreign threats to our critical infrastructure, even though the southern border has drugs and sex slaves pouring across it. Russia, China, Iran, they don't really, I mean, what's the last American town you saw inundated with Russian extremists?
Springfield,
Dawn. Yeah, I was just gonna say
Springfield,
Red Dawn.
Ohio. Yeah.
I'm missing this
So
cultural
Washington's
Red Dawn, amazing 1980s movie.
Okay.
It's where the Russians invade the United States, and we need a wily group of teenagers
No, that was China.
to stop the Russians from invading.
Okay. And Iranian immigrants overflowing in certain towns. Is that happening? Iranian, who
Red Dawn, the movie, was China
has Iranian
invading America.
sex slaves on their bingo card? Is that happening? Anybody? No?
No.
Okay.
Not any of that.
So in my experience and my news reporting, I have not seen that as a major threat to the U.S. homeland, but that's what they say. Even though they say that Russia and Iran and China are somehow involved in the drug trade. Take a look at this paragraph and see if you can make any sense. Despite the lethal and destabilizing threats terrorism poses to our country, the production, trafficking, and sale of illegal drugs by transnational and domestic criminal actors is the most lethal and persistent threats to U.S. communities. Concurrently, adversarial states are intent on sowing distrust in our institutions as well as confusion and division through their malign influence campaigns, which seek to boost these efforts through the 2024 election cycle. So, drug trafficking bad, biggest problem, but also just keep your eye out because we want you to be afraid of Russia, China, and Iran. Can anyone make sense of that?
Well, it's a huge leap because it would be like if you looked at like the mafia, and you said that Sicily was a major influence on the U.S. and it's like you're talking about criminals. So criminal
Right.
organizations, they may be a Russian criminal organization, they may be a Chinese criminal organization.
Sure.
It's not like they're directly working for the government of that country. That's a huge leap there from one to the other.
Right, but it also does not connect China, Iran, and Russia to drug trafficking. It says drugs and crime through the southern border is the biggest problem, but also, and it's just like an addendum, but
Right.
also Russia, China, Iran.
Well, they
Okay.
could argue
And then-
about Russian vodka, but they banned that from coming in through sanctions. So I guess
That's right. That's right. And in fact, they never prove that those countries have much to do with our drug trade, except that China actually, they later say, has changed some of their laws so that some of their drugs that are exported are better labeled so that they cannot end up in the fentanyl crisis. So China seems to have a handle on this a little bit, or at least a plan. This document is full of no plans at all. It's just a blue document, what to be scared of.
Gail says redacted is really blind to evil in other countries, huh? No, not at all. What we're saying is that you leave the southern border wide open, and now you're pointing the fingers at other countries. Like our southern border is wide open.
Right.
You're pointing the finger at us. Close the southern border. There's a lot of other evil in the world. There's plenty. We don't need more evil in the United States coming from these other countries that we've helped to stabilize.
Also, I would like you to prove it. Then let me see some proof, right? Because I've read books about the 8 years of sanctioning Iran during the Obama administration where they never quite proved the Iranian nuclear power. Nuclear weapons. They never proved it. And I am waiting. I don't want to go to a war based on lies. Am I saying Iran is the best place on earth? I don't know. I've never been to Iran, but I'm not going to be sold lies to go to war. If you want to, go ahead and swallow that bitter pill. Take it with some orange juice. Okay.
well, and they
But go ahead.
sorry, really quick. Everything that's in that document that you said there are things that are happening because of the migrant crisis, but it's like kind of coincidental that they're now saying that it's Iran, Russia, and all these other places. They can say if something happens because of the migrants, they can be like, well, they were Russians or they were Iranian
Sure.
or whatever, and
Yeah.
people will just buy it.
But that's total crap because the document clearly states they know who is doing the drug trafficking. Take a look. It's the Sinaloa cartel and the New Generation Jalisco Hotel, two large Mexico-based criminal drug gang.
Why do we pay for any of these organizations that's supposed to pay?
It's out of Mexico. But China, just remember, we hate China. So they say drug seizures are down, but only this year, not down since the Biden-Harris administration took office. We showed you these numbers yesterday when Tim Walz at the debate said that border crossings are down. You can sort of say that because in the year 2024, the general trajectory is down, but they're trending down this year alone. They are not down during the administration. In fact, let's take a look at meth seizures at the border. Meth alone, we're only concentrating on that sort of darker green line that's trending above the rest. So what they're saying is that drug seizures are down only slightly since 2021, but up since 2023. Also notice that meth seizures alone since 2020 have exceeded 150,000 pounds per year. Okay, keep that number in your mind. It's always, in every year of the Biden-Harris administration, over 150,000 pounds. Well, let's look at the meth seizures from the Trump-Obama years. It never even exceeded 100,000 pounds. So never was it this high until the Biden administration took office. Now, you could read this chart and say, well, these are seizures. That means that the Biden-Harris administration is
That means that you don't know how many drugs got through.
seizing more drugs. Maybe they're more on it than Obama and Trump are. I don't know, because we don't know the ratio of what's seized versus what gets through. So if that ratio is constant, then we're to assume that more drugs are in our country. We don't have an answer for that. We need more context clearly before we jump to any conclusions. Okay, on to terrorists. The document correctly states that Muslim extremists want to strike inside the United States. That is true, but if we listen to why they want to hit us so badly, it's because we kill civilians in their countries with constant droning, and we support Israel's brutality on the Palestinians. That's what they tell us. In fact, Osama bin Laden and the Orlando nightclub pulse shooter tried to tell us this, but we don't listen. We just think, oh, that's Muslim extremism. We don't need to hear that, right? What if we just said, oh, because we attack them constantly, that's why they want to attack us? Maybe we should stop that and then stop the retaliation we bring upon ourselves. We never stop to listen. We just think they're crazy. We don't hear their pleas to stop bombing their kids, carry on. They also report that China, Russia, and Iran are going to step up their use of AI on us. No proof. They just say they're going to do it. Here's what they literally say. Under this document, you should look for yourself. They say Russia is likely to do this, and Iran almost certainly will do it too. That's what we get for proof. That the DHS is saying likely and they're almost certain that this is going to happen. Okay. What about human trafficking at the southern border? Basically, DHS says, yeah, that's a thing. So they give it a one-page summary. It happens. Forced sex labor crossing at our southern border. It's happening. Social media helps it happen. Forced labor. They don't say how they're going to deal with it. They don't say who's doing it. They don't say it's an increased problem, which it is. It's just, yeah, that's a threat to
And
homeland
social
security.
media is the biggest problem.
Right.
Social media is the biggest problem.
Sure.
Right. Okay. So on Twitter is the biggest problem, I'm sure. So let's go after Elon Musk and take down Twitter. Not our facilitation by the Catholic Charities, by HIAS, the Hebrew Immigration and Aid Society, the Department of Homeland Security under Alejandro Mayorkas, the Biden administration, but social media is the biggest problem with human trafficking in the
And
United
forced
States.
labor and all this stuff. Yeah, it happens. It's just saying, yep, continues to happen.
Right.
That's the thing. And we don't have a plan to stop it. We are not tracking it. We don't know who's doing it. We're not really all that concerned, but it's a thing. So this document reads more like a war document than an actual document of what they're trying to solve at all. They're just warning you of, it reads to me, this is a bingo card of all the things they will use to sell you the war next, because they're not clearly trying to stop any of this. They're just telling you what to be afraid of so that you can just, basically it's a trampoline, it's a layup. Like, who are we going to sell you a war for? Here, come jump here. Come jump here. Oh, human trafficking. Got it. Iran, AI from Russia. And you'll borrow this. You'll buy it if you read between the lines and support a foreign war, I suppose. But it's not surprising given that we keep watching them not solve problems as they escalate. So read the document for yourself. Let me know what you think. Are you going to buy this and march right on into a war? Or are you going to demand that someone actually stop these things? What do you want?
Cyber.
Like I said again, stupid is what stupid does. And we're allowing them to just fuck clean over us because we the stupid ones. It's time for us to wake up and realize common sense is the way to go.